What's up YouTube? In this video, I'm going to talk about the Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing, and particularly the differences between their 11-inch and 13-inch, and also the 15-inch windshield. I wanted to cover specifically what difference does it make in terms of wind protection and wind buffeting between the three windshield sizes. So for context, I've been rocking this 11-inch windshield for over a year now, and it's been great. But I have noticed that at highway speeds, there's just a lot of buffeting. And I'm 5'8", and this windshield comes like right below my chin line. And I'm going to cut to this video where I'm sitting on the bike so you can get a visual representation of how I sit on the bike and the proportions. So like I said, a lot of wind buffeting on my head anytime I hit speeds above, let's say 55 miles per hour. And it progressively got worse the more you picked up speed. So I knew that I wanted to change things up a little bit, but I didn't know what size I needed. If you look at some reviews online, or if you check the forums, some people will say it makes no difference between what windshield size you get. Others will say that it does. There's just a lot of opinions out there. And the problem is you can't really just go into a dealer or go into a shop and try out different windshields. You kind of have to commit and buy and then cross your fingers and hope that it works. This video will cover 3 different windshield heights, like I said, 11-inch, 13-inch, and the 15-inch, and I'll talk about which one worked best for me. Also, just a big thanks to Memphis Shades for working with me on this video, because they sent out a few windshields for me to test out, and also hopefully to help you all in this decision-making process. So the first one I tried was the 13-inch windshield, and I'll cut to the video where I'm sitting on the bike. Again, you can just reference the proportions, how I'm sitting on the bike. Again, I'm saying that I'm 5'8", but I do have a longer torso than I do lower. And as you can see, the 13-inch shield sits a little bit higher, obviously, versus my 11-inch, and I think it comes right below my nose. Before taking it out for a spin, I already had a feeling that this was going to reduce the buffeting because the higher windshield would hopefully deflect the wind a little bit higher. But I didn't know exactly how much. My 11-inch was right here. The wind was coming through the fairing, through the windshield, kind of down here maybe, and then traveling up my body and then hitting the bottom of my helmet and kind of like shaking it around. I think this will help a little bit, but I still think that it's going to hit me a little bit more on the chest. Maybe it'll travel down this way. So the 15-inch will be kind of like right at my eye level, whereas the 13-inch actually kind of hits me like right on the nose or so. All right, let's get going. MOT, moment of truth. 55, feeling nice. All right, so we're at 70 right now. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of buffeting on my face, just a tad bit, but it is a little bit better than the 11-inch. All right, so I'm gonna take it to about 80 or so. All right, so not so bad. I am still getting a lot of wind, but it is better than the 11-inch. I will say the one area that has improved, I think, is the wind is not really hitting me in the chest as much as I thought it would. So I kind of think what's happening is the wind is coming through the fairing and just like kind of scooping down just a little bit and then going back up onto my face. So the result is less wind buffeting to the face. Definitely a noticeable difference on the chest area. The 13-inch versus the 11-inch, if it were up to me, I don't know if I would spend my money there. I don't know if there's enough of a drastic difference. So the 13-inch windshield was better for me versus the 11-inch, and it reduced a lot of the buffeting. More specifically, I noticed that the wind buffeting didn't really start happening until I hit about 65 miles per hour on the highway. But then above 60 miles per hour, I was getting a decent amount of wind buffeting, wind in my face. So better results, but not exactly perfect. I actually think this 13-inch windshield could be a good option for me in terms of spring and summer riding, because while it does offer some wind protection, it does also allow for a decent amount of airflow so that you don't get too hot. So the next up is my 15-inch windshield. I was really excited to test that one out because obviously it's the highest one that I have. And I'll also cut to the video where I'm sitting on the bike again. With this windshield, I think the top of the windshield hits somewhere between like my eyes and my nose. And I've heard, I don't know exactly where I heard it from, but that's the ideal height for the windshield. But I'm not really sure if that's true or not.
But I was hoping that if the 13-inch windshield provided better protection versus the 11-inch, that the 15-inch will be even better than the 13-inch. So let's cut to the video.
It's just common sense. You have a bigger, taller windscreen, it's going to block off more wind. All right, so here's the test. All right, so we're at 50 miles an hour. So far, so good. Not a whole lot of wind on my head. I'm gonna have to try to see if I can go a little bit faster. All right, so I'm at 60. Oh, come on, people. All right, I'm at 70, 80. So far, so good. I noticed a little bit of wind on top of my head, kind of like shaking it around just a tiny bit, but it is a massive improvement versus my 11-inch. Whoa, I was going about 90 there. So I know that that was only a few minutes of testing, and I'll get to test this out more over time, and I'll have a longer term review video on this. But first impression, it's cutting out a lot of the wind. So visually from my line of sight, I would say the top of this windscreen is right at eye level for me. It causes the wind to just go right above your head. Yeah, I like this so far. I think this is a better option for wind protection for me. For me, the 11-inch was kind of like right at my chin, and what that was doing was causing the wind to just hit right all up on my head. And it wasn't really straightforward wind, it was kind of like chopped up. It was all weird. I don't really know the properties of wind and all this stuff, and I don't know how taller windscreen would impact versus not impact the buffeting. But I think as a general rule of thumb, you want to try to keep the top of the windscreen right at your eye level, or maybe at your nose. And I think that's where you get the best results. That's where the wind would just kind of like hop right over you. So yeah, this feels really good. I do get a little bit of wind on my chest and my stomach area, but even then, it's not as much as it used to be. So I'm at 80 right now, it looks like, according to my speedo. And yeah, I can definitely say without a doubt, the wind buffeting has decreased. I don't really know what percentage, but it is noticeable. It is noticeably different.
So after testing out all three windshield sizes, it's very, very clear to me that the 15-inch worked best for me. That's what she said. The 15-inch windshield cut out a lot of the wind that hits my face, and I only felt a tiny bit of buzzing on top of my head. I noticed that I could hit about 75, 80 miles an hour and really not experience a lot of wind buffeting. But beyond like 80, 85, I was getting a little bit of buzzing on top of my head, which I thought is a drastic improvement over the 11-inch and also the 13-inch. And because of that, I noticed that I could go a lot faster without encountering that wind drag from my body and my head. So for long distance riding and highway riding especially, the 15-inch windshield really wins out here. I'd be curious to try out the 17-inch, but I think that just looks kind of ridiculous on my bike. Now, of course, this is really unique to my experience. I know that taller riders have had issues with the 15-inch, but I think that's because they're taller and so that their head is a lot higher, right? I think that's why it works better for taller riders if you go lower, say like 11-inch. That is just speculation from what I've experienced testing out the three different windshields. Hopefully this was helpful for you as a reference point. By no ways I'm saying that the 15-inch is always the best way to go, because everyone's body is a little bit different. Everyone's height is different, but hopefully this is helpful for you in trying to determine which windshield to get if you're trying to reduce wind fatigue and buffeting. Again, I'd like to thank Memphis Shades here for helping me out in creating this video. And I would say stay tuned for next week's video, because they also sent me a vented fairing to test out. So we'll do another A/B test, which should really be exciting. All right, thanks for watching this video, and I'll check you all in the next video. Peace.